Welcome to Wintergatan Wednesdays, where I'll update you weekly about the marble machine progress. And today I have 4 things I want to tell you about. In part 1 of this video, I'm going to tell you about this solution I found on a Marble Machine X problem that was bothering me so much. And I think I finally solved it. And in the second part, we're going to go through this exploded powertrain, which is clarifying exactly how my new marble machine is supposed to work with all the shafts and stuff like this. And in the third part of the video, I want to tell you about the progress of my physics calculations for this powertrain. In the last part, we're gonna celebrate a bit, because where do you think I am in this pyramid right now? I actually think that I already finished step 1 and 2, and that I'm just starting work on step 3, the features. So we're actually climbing up this pyramid and moving closer to assembly of a new marble machine. More on that later. Let's start with the exciting solution that I found on a very annoying problem that I had on the Marble Machine X. Here's the old design from the Marble Machine X, and right now you can see that the mechanism is muted, so nothing happens around the marble drop. You can see the programming profile comes, but nothing happens. However, this reader still moves, and it makes a lot of noise. If we check on the actual Marble Machine X, listen to how much noise these readers are making, despite the fact that no marbles are playing on any music instruments. Here's the vision for how the machine should look. And imagine on this machine, there's like 200 channels or something. So imagine that all the readers would flap around all the time and creating this mechanical noise, without even nothing is playing. I really hated that on the Marble Machine X.
Here you can see the hooks. That is the braking and activation of the mechanical connection. So that's what happens when we mute an instrument group. And that's what happens when we activate it. You can see if a programming pin activates it, it will pull the channel. And when it goes down, it will not pull the channel. This system is also designed to handle the following edge case. Let's say the instrument group is muted, like that. But this is still moving due to the registrators being hit by the programming pins. So imagine a pin is just hitting this, and at the same time I'm unmuting this instrument group. Then we have this situation. But when the pin lets go, everything sorts out itself.
So now we are unmuting and muting the mechanism like this. So this is the action when the old design is playing. Boom. So that's all good. However, there's edge cases. Here's edge case 1. What happens if we unmute straight on this profile when it is activating the reader? Check this out. Play, unmute, and it just flips. Nothing happened, and when the next profile comes, the machine will play as normal. Here comes the profile. We unmute. Nothing happens with the marble, but it connects, so the next time a profile comes, the marble can be dropped, which is fantastic. Great design. And we have a second edge case. What happens if we mute in the middle of a profile? So here comes the profile, mute. Everything works as normal. Why? Well, there are tensions between these profiles. I'm gonna stop in the middle of the video here. There. We have tension between these profiles here. This strong spring keeps these parts connected, even though this link is not lifted up by the cam here. You can see that the marble haven't been played yet. And let's see if the marble is played when the profile ends. If I play the video, boom. I'm really proud of this design. Thanks again to Marius, who helped me design this. This has been such a wonderful thing. I don't have to time my mutings between notes. I had to do that on the original marble machine, but on the Marble Machine X, I can just pull the lever whenever. Nothing would ever go wrong. Let's check the new design. To move the reader away, I'm putting in this link here. So when we mute, the reader is being pulled back. Like this. So now the profile can pass under and nothing is being played, and the annoying flapping sound from the Marble Machine X is gone. By lifting the reader out of the way, we do not have this sound. Perfect, right? No, it's not perfect. What about the edge cases? If we mute on the profile like this, everything falls apart because check. The marble is not dropped until I unmute the lever. The marble is not dropped by the profile, and we have a marble that is not played when it should be. Let's check again. The profile calm, I mute it, and the reader stays up, and the marble is dropped by the muting lever. That's not how this system is supposed to work. So here's my solution. Instead of this stiff link, we're going to use some very weak springs, which means that when the profile is ending, the stronger spring to the right will pull the profile and then it will snap back into a muted position. So if you check carefully now, we are unmuting on the profile, but the marble is being dropped by the profile. One issue here is that do we really have a disconnect of these links here, because the left spring is keeping the reader in tension. And if we zoom in and go even slower, I think we do, because if we have enough momentum of the reader, just when it snaps back, it will spring back the left springs right there to give this link time to fall and uncouple. This only works if the spring to the left is really weak and if the spring to the right is really strong. That's the way we want it anyway, because this strong spring is going to pull the Bowden cable, and the strong spring is reliable for consistent music timing. This, in theory, should work perfect. I need to prototype this, of course, to verify, but I'm really excited for this solution. And this annoying noise shouldn't be there for the new marble machine. What do you think? I love this solution, and I think this will make the new machine so much nicer to listen to than the old machine where this mechanical noise drove me crazy at all times. We have to prototype it to verify, but I think it actually will work if we design it correctly. So let's check part 2. I've designed an exploded view of the powertrain for the marble machine. These are all the shafts and all the gears kind of that are going to be in the machine. They might not look exactly like this, but I made this diagram to show myself how everything is connected and to show you something important, because the red parts are the music parts and the green parts are the conveyor belt parts. And it's really cool how this powertrain is split in 2 sections. So again, here's the whole machine, and if we go over here, we have only the powertrain. I'm doing my power input on these 2 pedals over here, and they are connected with one-way bearings. So it's not the same type of pedal that I had on the prototype that we used in Germany last year. So if I don't move, these pedals won't move, so they will be very safe and easy to maneuver. And then you can see how my power input is split into the green powertrain, which runs the conveyors, and into the red powertrain, which runs the music. And if you check carefully here, my pedal input doesn't touch the red powertrain. It only lifts the big weight of the Huygen drive, and the weight drives this wheel. So the weight is solely responsible for driving all the 3 programming wheels. The cool thing is that if the conveyor belt needs more power, I can add more power here, and as long as I keep the Huygen weight at the correct distance from the floor, the music will be tight. I'm even planning on having a mechanical meter showing right in front of me how high the Huygen weight is. Imagine you just put a Bowden cable onto the weight, so when it comes up, the cable is drawn out, pulling the meter over to one side. So in front of me, I will have this vintage like meter like this, and when it's straight up, then I know I should back off the power on the pedals. If it's falling down, I have to pedal harder. In this powertrain, I also started to giving some proper naming. So when I open up the project for collaborations, which will be pretty soon, we have a consistent naming system. On the Marble Machine X, I went crazy with numbers, and afterwards now I realized that we spent so much time on numbering parts and stuff before the design was done. It was so unnecessary work. So for this project, for some time, I'm just going to stick with normal names, and as long as they are unique, everyone knows which part we're talking about. And the whole reason that I dare to say that we have solved the first stepping stone of our Marble Machine pyramid, the timing part, is because of this powertrain. The whole Huygen drive solution is brilliant. There's so much things with this design that has unlocked the whole project. So when I said earlier that I wouldn't do the project if I couldn't solve this timing step, I was 100% serious, and I think I have to admit that we have solved it. At this point in time, everything is just sketches. I don't think the gearbox will be this kind of model. I'm looking at car gearboxes, and we should do a really good compact gearbox. I don't know exactly how we're going to do that, but I'm going to definitely get some help designing a great gearbox. There are some issues to solve, but my main point is that this drivetrain will play tight music. But what I really want to do in this project is using the power of the digital design process and understanding how can we get control before we actually build something. And we do that by using physics calculations. This week I have continued my work of doing physics calculations on the marble machine. Let me show you this spreadsheet. I'm not done with this. This is a work in progress, but very simply, we have design inputs here on the left. So all the light green cells are for me to put into the design. So for example, here's my body weight. If I gain some muscle through training with Hannes and I get up to 85 kilo, all these numbers will change. So we can see that I'm putting much more torque in at 85 kilo than I do on my Snowflake 80. But the main point is that with this document, at a click of a button, I can change the radius or a gear ratio, and I can see here on the right side on the data outputs exactly what happens with the machine. So for example, here we have all the shafts on the entire machine. So all the shafts described in the exploded powertrain, I can immediately see the RPM number of each shaft. And I will also be able to see the torque of each shaft, which is, turns out, super simple math and physics. But the important thing that I wanted to check, do I have enough power to power such a big machine? Currently, if we look at the power calculation down here, I do. My calculations are not super high resolution at the moment, but I'm getting help with making them finer and finer. But currently, if I put in medium effort, I have a power input of 149 watt. This is pretty low. I think I can give more. An average biker put out around 200 watts for an hour of exercise. Let me show you everything that is in this document. So we have marble size, how many marbles, we have a music intensity. So if the music is more intense, it will use more watts. All the calculations down here are derived from my design inputs, and they are driving the results in the document. So there is a lot here. So here's the drummer conveyor belt shaft power calculation, and we even have Pythagoras in this cell here. So we have square root of these two values multiplied by themselves. I know I heard about Pythagoras when I went to school, so it was quite fun to relearn that and put that into a spreadsheet that actually matters for the future of my life, basically. They say that physics is the law and everything else is recommendations. So we can understand the shafts, the RPMs, the torques, all of that nice stuff, and we can design good gear ratios basically on the spreadsheet. The whole journey I'm going through with these physics calculations is really, really fun, and I'm sure it will improve the final result of the machine. But let's move on to the last part of this video, part 4, which is maybe the most fun part. I just want to celebrate that I think I'm done with part 1, timing. I think I'm also done with part 2, sound, because of today, when I solved the fact that we don't have this ugly mechanical noise, and I've calculated for big drums, big acoustic drums, I think that I can make this machine sound good, no problem. Step 3 will be very, very interesting. What is dynamic music, and how dynamic music do I need this machine to play to be excited to design it? I have an example of a benchmark that I would love to hit. Check this out. This drum solo is just amazing. Dim Sunk is a YouTube channel. Max Sansalone, Funky Drumming is the video. Highly recommend. Just listen to the ghost notes on the snare drum. There's a lot of different hi-hat strokes as well on the side and on the top, and the ghost notes, which are the low notes, and the hard notes on the snare drum, and some rolls as well. Big vision on my marble machine is to have some of these features. I can't make marbles play as good as Dim Sunk is playing here, but I can come much closer than my earlier machines did. We're going to head into a territory where there might smell some feature creep if I want to try to make my machine sound like this. But I need my machine to be a little bit in this direction to be excited about it. And I also think my new rigorous good design process and marble gates that actually works and stuff is a process that should help us build a really great machine that will blow people away. Imagine going to a concert and the marble machine sounds a little bit like this. Talk about dynamic. In the end here, he goes down and plays lower and lower. Here, he goes down. Even lower. Mute some of the ghost note channels on the machine. Mute. Mute the hi-hat. That's the kind of level of dynamic music that I'm dreaming about creating with the new marble machine. The last 6 months I've spent on finalizing step 1 and 2, so we're now officially on step 3 on our pyramid. We're moving up towards that cool step 5 assembly of the machine. So with that happy sentiment, I will leave you for this week, and I'll see you next week in Wintergatan Wednesdays. Thank you so much for watching, and good luck with everything you're doing. Ciao.